This is Optimus Prime, and you're listening to All Things Transformers.
And welcome to All Things Transformers version 3.0. So yes, this is Steve Megatron joining you once more. God, what's crazy, 2 weeks in a row? Man, I never do this. I used to do the show bi-weekly when I started it, and then it went to sporadically to monthly to once every 6 months, and then to killing the show, and then back to weekly, and then back to killing the show. I've been enjoying jumping back into this. I guess I kind of needed a little bit of downtime from the show, or from Transformers in general. And I find myself coming back to it the more I've been being pushed out of part of Star Trek anyway. You want more information on that, go check out Future Imperfect 34. I've been kind of looking forward to conversing a little bit on it. I've really had fun looking at a lot of the Transformer toys lately, despite the fact I cannot afford any of them. One of the current ones that has my eye right now is the Fans Hobby SGC exclusive, the Red Dragon. And it looks almost like it's a double-headed dragon, but it almost has like the Beast Wars Megatron dragon aesthetic to it if it had less of the dragon element. And when I say that, I mean the head, at least from a distance, looks very much like Predacon Megatron's head. The wings stick out behind him. They're very, very close to the Beast Wars Megatron wings. And then, of course, the tail splits apart, and it's got those as, like, some swords. I would be really interested in that if it had the Beast Wars Megatron head, because, honestly, I almost purely go for Megatron figures anymore. I'm really hoping for some Masterpiece Megatrons. I've been clamoring for this for years. And I know they'll come out, and when they do, I will be getting the Masterpiece Megatrons. Or finding some way to get them. I don't know. I'm so freaking broke at the moment that toys are the last thing on my mind. But I definitely wouldn't mind getting my hands on it anyway. I have Primal now. I have Masterpiece Primal. So a Masterpiece Beast Wars Megatron. While I like the original form of Megatron and Beast Wars, I like his Transmetal and Transmetal to Dragon form better. And the Beast Machine's Dragon to whatever the head unit thing is. So, yeah. That being said, there's another thing from Toy Alliance. They've got Mass 01. I'm speculating this is like a Masterpiece, but not really. It's a Mega 18-inch action figure from Toys Alliance. This sucker is awesome. It's got a Optimus Prime. It almost looks like they mixed the Masterpiece MP01, the original one, with some of the comic aesthetics and kind of gave him a little bit more of the kind of filled out look that they have on the cartoon or some other element therein. And he's got the Matrix, he's got the pointing fingers, he's got just the level of detail in this thing is sick. If it weren't for the fact I already have the MPO1, I would be very interested in this. I'm more interested in the knockoff Optimal Optimus that's out though, and the Mastermind Creations R28 Tyrantron, which is the Autobot Megatron from the IDW comics, which looks pretty slick as well. They're very enticing. The stuff that these fan hobby things come up with are ridiculously good. And Hasbro's had to up their game quite a bit just because of it, which is nice. I wish I had the extra money, but a lot of the stuff coming out now for Transformers is just ridiculously good. Especially the Toy Alliance Mass 02 Megatron. It makes the Masterpiece Megatron from Hasbro put to shame as well, just because it's got almost that Dreamwave looking Megatron to it with detail. I don't know. I'm very in tune with this. And then TF Source also had this thing where they were showing off these transformable, like automatic self-transforming Transformers. They showed off an Optimus Prime that literally it drives, and then this thing literally stands up, transforms, twists around, the head pops out, and it walks. And they showed a couple other characters. They showed like Hound. They showed like a Bulldozer character. I think it was like Bone Crusher or something. One of the Constructicons. And then they show this thing retransform. It's just ridiculously sick how cool those are. Man, the time to be a Transformers collector is now. Like, literally now. And then the Power of the Primes thing, I think, again, just reiterating what I mentioned last episode, I think that thing's pretty slick. And then the Prime 1 Studios Beast Wars Megatron, if that were the aesthetic we were getting for the Transformers toys in general, man, for Beast Wars, this thing's, I mean, the level of shininess on this toy and detail on the dinosaur and Megatron's glowing eyes. I know it's a statue, and I would love to have this statue, honestly. If it weren't for the fact that it's got Dinobot's mismembered head with his sword in his eye and him in pieces below Megatron, which never happened. Now, if this was Transmetal Megatron and he had Dinobot slaughtered on the ground, that would be one thing, but it's not. But the level of detail on that Megatron is awesome. I would love nothing more than to be able to make a basically like a cosplay helmet of Megatron. I'm not sure which iteration I want yet. It would either be the Beast Megatron or the Transmetal Megatron. I'm not quite sure yet. I still have to figure out how I'd want to go about this. I would not make a full body cosplay just because I think it would be way too difficult for me and time consuming and something I can't afford. However, I think I could possibly come up with a helmet to some degree, and I would love to make Megatron's entire head fit over my head, which would be awesome, because then I could literally I could just have these like holes through part of it so that you could hear my voice, and then I could just, oh yes, Megatron, terrorize, yes. I did that to my son the other day, and he's like, stop doing the voice, Dad. And I was like, oh, but why? I enjoy it. Yes. And then he started saying to me, something else, and I was like, no. And, so I enjoy doing the Megatron voice quite a bit. I've gotten back into it lately, which has been a lot of fun. And then I just wish I had more outlets to do that voice. I did do that Transformers Prime, or Transformers, it was like Transformers Prime, or Transformers Robots in Disguise commercial for the Transformers Network back in December, and Unfortunately, that site is down, which I have no idea why. I was a member of it for a while. I was the web designer. It was my weak attempt at bringing back Predacon Empire, because after I let that domain lapse, some dickweed took up the domain, did nothing with it. It's literally just a page saying Predacon Empire, and then they're going to have some history thing, and it's a one page, and there's nothing there. And it kills me, because I'd love to have the domain back, despite the fact that I can't afford to keep collecting my old domains for $12 a pop. But I would still love to do that. I have another domain in mind, though, or two, for Transformers-related purposes, should I ever decide to go this route again. But the problem with doing the Transformers website is there's already these juggernauts in the space, like Allspark, T-Formers, TFW, Cybertron. So if you're not one of those four, it's very difficult to garner attention to it. And rightfully so. Like those are the big dogs. Like they've been around forever. They aren't going anywhere. They keep a lot of fresh content, which is pertinent to keeping people there. I had Predacon Empire. It faltered. It was because I was a solo show. So I don't know if I'll ever go back to building a Transformers site, even though I really enjoyed doing that back when I did it. But at least I have the podcast. That's something. Like, you can never have enough Transformers podcasts. Like, it's great. I will admit, though, I have not listened to any besides... I don't even listen to my own, but that's more so because I'm recording it. I just don't have time to record or listen to podcasts anymore, so it's kind of an odd duck there. If I did, though, I would listen to Radio Free Cybertron, but that's because I really like those guys over there, and I like their commentary. So yeah, Transformers. Peter Cullen and Frank Welker conversed recently on Collider about their evolution of Optimus Prime and Megatron, and how it's a lot has changed, but some of it stayed the same over the last 30 years from playing Megatron and Optimus, and Optimus pretty much has stayed the same, other than a few slight changes. Megatron has probably had the most changes over the years. Just in his portrayal and how deep and dark he gets, depending on the iteration, and how much evil he is by comparison, depending on G1, Prime, the films. So it's a pretty interesting article. It's over there if you want to check it out. And then, of course, there's a sketch and preliminary colors for a true form Starscream that Sarah Petrie DeRocher came up with, an IDW artist, more or less showing that Starscream's true body that appeared in the final issue of Transformers TLR 1, and says her original colors were somewhat altered in the book. The colors ended up changing for the actual issue, but they were kind of there were some differences from the first draft. They showed more or less what that this depiction of Starscream was a mental construct and represents what the current governor of Cybertron might have looked like had he been forged instead of constructed cold, spark implanted into one of the identical Seeker-style bodies. I think it's kind of interesting. It would kind of garner more to that Skyfire, Jetfire looking design, and he's kind of got more of a Prowl Blue Streak looking head. I like it, but I also like the Seeker Jet Starscream look. But it's something I've not seen, and it gives Starscream an added layer of depth, as it were. And then help us all, Bumblebee, the movie that's coming out. I mean, I'll check it out. I hope it's not terrible like the Prime films, like the main films that are out. They have a new Decepticon revealed, and they have the director Travis Knight standing next to a red modified 71 Plymouth GTX. And it's got like a kind of a cliff jumper vibe, but it's got a Decepticon insignia on it. So I'll hold out on this film and see what happens. It's supposed to take place decades earlier than the first Transformers film, so we'll see what happens there. Side note, Toys R Us has filed voluntary Chapter 11 petitions, bankruptcy in the United States, but they're going to continue to operate. I just wonder what's going to happen with all of these toy stores if something actually does go wrong and they don't manage to pay off their debt. I know that they've probably done stuff like this in the past and they've had all kinds of other issues, but I'd hate to see the one main toy store go by the wayside. The only thing I can say that kind of shoots them in the foot is their overpriced items. And I know they have a lot of exclusive content there, or products, because of the fact that they're toys primarily. But it's still kind of sad to see. And then they showed off another thing from HasCon, kind of showing like the evolution of Transformers on a wall, which was neat. I don't know. What do you guys think about some of the newest changes to the Transformers franchise? Like, does some of this stuff interest you? Do some of the toys interest you? Do the masterpiece? Do the films? Do the animation? Like, I'm being serious. Like, what even draws you to the show anymore, or to the property? I'm of the mentality of it depends on what it is. Like, I have no cares in the world for the comics by IDW. It has nothing to do with the writing or the art. It's just I just don't collect comics anymore. And the fact that when I started getting back into them, I didn't care for the plot lines, and I didn't want anything to do with it. Now, if there was Beast Wars stuff, bought it up immediately. But this stuff, I don't care for. And then now, also, TransformersMovie.com has a voting for fan favorites, where you can cast your vote to crown the ultimate Transformer champion, and then they've got Autobots on one side, Decepticons on the other. Like, the next battle is between Prime and Ironhide on the top part of the March Madness bracket, and then you've got Hound and Bumblebee. And on the other side, you have Barricade and Shockwave. And then on the bottom, you have Megatron and Nitro Zeus. Whoever the heck that is. I mean, he was in the 5th film, but it didn't seem relevant enough to matter. I kind of have speculation that Barricade and Megatron are moving on to the next round, and then on the other side, Prime and Bumblebee, and then it'll be between Prime and Bumblebee, and one of those will be crowned, and it'll be Megatron on the other side who makes it to the final round with Prime or Bumblebee. I don't know. It seems kind of rigged. And then Screen Rant thought, oh, this would be fun. Let's rank every Transformers animated series worst to best. And then they put Energon at the bottom, which I would almost rather see Robots in Disguise, the 99 or the 2001 series, go by the wayside first, and then that. Although I thought Energon was better than Armada. So then they have Energon, Combiner Wars, Armada. I think Armada should have been closer to the bottom. They have Cybertron, Headmasters, which Robots in Disguise, Victory. I think Headmasters should have been a lot higher. They got Super God, Master Force, the 2015 Robots in Disguise, Transformers Prime. They're going to kill me on this. They're going to have G1 as number 1, which is going to be stupid. Transformers Prime is number 6. They've got Beast Machines at number 5, Rescue Bots at number 4. Oh, they've got Generation 1 at number 3. Animated at 2, and okay, they've redeemed themselves. Beast Wars is number 1, so I would rank Beast Wars that as well. Just the most condensed cast, and yet had the most sophisticated stories and really awesome CG, and the fact they were beasts. So I don't know. I love this show. So I hope you guys enjoyed this short ATTF. I don't really have much more than this, but I thought it would be fun to kind of come up with another episode and kind of keep it. I don't know. I'm gonna kind of do more shorter episodes, kind of keep them to the point, keep the most recent stuff, and not really. I don't really want to pander around too much. I'm not going to discuss every facet of the Transformers fandom. I'm not going to discuss everything I hate or any rumors. I'm just going to talk about the stuff that's awesome and that I think's really cool, and then hopefully you guys think the same thing. So yeah. Until next time.
Ah, yes. Until next time, transform and transcend. Ha 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 ha. Excellent. Yes. Yes.
I wish to speak to my lawyer.